I'd been a night nurse at St. Mary's Hospital for 3 years, and I thought I'd seen it all. But that night was different. My name is Sarah Chen, and I need to tell someone what happened before I lose my mind completely. St. Mary's is an old hospital. Built in 1923, it still has the original wing. A long corridor of patient rooms that management keeps threatening to renovate but never does. The lighting is dim. The floors creak, and on night shift you're often alone. That night I was assigned to the old wing, room 307 through 319. 12 rooms. Only 3 were occupied. Mrs. Patterson in 307. Late-stage dementia, mostly asleep. Mr. Kovac in 312. Post-surgery, sedated. And room 318 was empty. Freshly cleaned, waiting for morning admissions. I did my rounds at 2:30 a.m. Everyone was stable, quiet. I returned to the nurses' station at the end of the hall. A small desk with a computer, a stack of charts, and a view down the entire corridor. That's when I heard them. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Coming from the far end of the hallway, near room 318. I looked up. The hallway was empty. The lights flickered slightly the way they always did in the old wing, but the sound was unmistakable. Closer. Hello? The footsteps stopped. I grabbed my penlight and walked toward the sound, my shoes squeaking softly against the linoleum. The air felt colder the farther I went. I could see my breath. When I reached room 318, the door was cracked open. I knew I'd closed it during rounds. I always closed the doors. I pushed it open slowly. The room was dark except for the pale glow from the hallway. The bed was empty, neatly made. The fourth stand stood in the corner like a skeletal figure. Everything was exactly as it should be, except for the handprint on the window, small, child-sized, smudged against the glass from the inside. My stomach dropped. There were no children on this floor. There hadn't been for weeks. I backed out of the room, my heart hammering. I told myself it was an old mark, something housekeeping missed, but the glass was fogged around it. Fresh condensation, as if someone had just pressed their hand there. I returned to the nurse's station and tried to focus on charting, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. At 3:12 a.m., the call button rang. Room 318. I stared at a monitor, the empty room. The light above the door glowing red. I didn't move. The button rang again. Insistent. I picked up the phone and called security. "Hey, it's Sarah on the 4th floor. Can someone come up here? I'm getting a call light from an empty room." "Be there in 5, the guard said. But 5 minutes felt like an eternity. The call button stopped. Then from down the hall I heard it. A child's voice, singing, soft, melodic, echoing through the corridor.
Ring around the rosy.
My blood went cold. I stood, gripping the edge of the desk. The hallway was still empty, but the voice was getting closer. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, and then I saw her. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, standing at the far end of the hallway just outside room 318. She wasn't looking at me. She was staring at the floor. "We all fall down." She collapsed. I screamed and ran toward her, my training kicking in. But when I reached the spot where she'd fallen, nothing. No body, no girl, just the cold, empty hallway. The security guard found me there, on my knees, sobbing. I couldn't explain. He checked the rooms, reviewed the security footage. There was nothing. But when we returned to room 318, the handprint on the window was gone, and written in the condensation, "Help me." I requested a transfer the next morning. Management approved it without question. They'd heard stories before, but I still dream about her. The little girl in the hallway, the one who sang and fell and vanished. I looked into the hospital's history. In 1987, a 6-year-old girl named Emma Lawson died in room 318 from complications during surgery. She'd been singing to herself right before she went under. Ring around the rosy. I don't work night shifts anymore, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear the footsteps.